I have always loved abandoned places. These silent witnesses of the past lured me in with their quiet emptiness, promising to reveal secrets forgotten by time. I arrived in Pripyat by chance. I wanted to have an adventure, just to be where life once thrived, but now only dead. Silence remained. The apartment I found for the night was on the outskirts of the city. I chose it for its convenient location, away from the center and the eyes of tourists. Closing the door behind me, I felt a chill fill the room, even though outside the summer night was warm. It was that unpleasant cold that seeps into your bones. The wallpaper on the walls was covered in mold, and the wooden floor creaked underfoot. While exploring the apartment, I came across an old wardrobe in the corner of the room. Strange symbols were scratched into its door, runes or scribbles, I couldn't tell. The feeling was unsettling, but curiosity outweighed fear. The wardrobe was empty, except for some old, tattered books with leather covers. On the first page, inked in, was an inscription in an unknown language. As I flipped through the pages, I noticed the letters seemed to move, and the air in the room grew thick and heavy. The floor beneath me trembled as if a powerful explosion had gone off nearby. Then, a bright flash blinded me, and I lost consciousness. When I came to, I felt the cold ground beneath me. I was lying in tall grass, and above me stretched a sky of an eerie gray-green hue. It seemed to pulse as if it were alive. Where am I? I thought, looking around. The landscape looked familiar yet alien at the same time. The half-ruined buildings and leaning fences resembled Pripyat, but the atmosphere was different. The air was dense, saturated with something rhythmic. In the distance, muffled moans echoed, and the wind carried a strange stench of rot and iron. I took a few steps but froze at the sound of a low growl behind me. Turning around, I saw a strange creature. It resembled a dog, but its head was deformed and its eyes glowed. The thing crept toward me slowly, bearing rows of jagged teeth. Instinct took over. I ran. Branches whipped against my face. Sharp stones tore at my feet, but I didn't stop. My heart pounded. My breath came in ragged gasps, and fear drove me forward. Soon I saw a hangar with half-open gates. It was my only chance. I darted inside, slammed the gates shut, and leaned against them, trying to catch my breath. "You won't last long," came a raspy voice from the room. I jumped. By the fire sat a man in a hooded cloak. His face was partly hidden in shadow, but his gray eyes stared straight at me. "Who are you?" I asked, trying to keep the tremor out of my voice. "The one who can help you survive, if you listen," he replied, tossing me a flask of water. I took a few gulps, feeling the cold seep inside me. The stranger introduced himself as Peter and quickly explained that I had ended up in the zone, a place where the laws of nature no longer applied. "If you want to stay alive, keep away from anomalies. And one more rule, never go where it's too quiet." I didn't understand half of what he was saying, but his tone convinced me that he knew what he was talking about. The next morning, Peter gave me an old pistol, a handful of bullets, and set off, wishing me luck. "You said you want to find a way out. Then head south. There's an old bunker there. If you're lucky, you might run into stalkers. They know how to escape." As I walked across the wasteland, I carefully scanned my surroundings. The ground beneath my feet was covered in a strange, ash-like residue. Sometimes I saw charred tree skeletons or odd patches of light that seemed to float in the air. I reached a small bridge when I heard a noise. Suddenly, the earth beneath me gave way, and I found myself sinking into the mud. An invisible force was pulling me downward. I panicked, struggling to break free, but the more I moved, the deeper I sank. "Don't move!" someone shouted. A man in a leather jacket ran out from the bushes. He threw me a rope, and I clung to it, pulling myself out of the trap. "You're completely new, aren't you?" he asked, helping me to my feet. This was Victor, a veteran stalker with 10 years of experience, as he later told me. We continued on together. He constantly talked about survival rules, how to recognize anomalies, how to avoid mutants, and where not to go. Even during the day, when we reached the forest, everything around us changed. The trees were twisted as if tortured, and the soil was dead. The air was thick, and it felt like something was watching us from behind every trunk. The Red Forest, the most cursed place in the zone, Victor said. Even the most experienced stalkers disappear here without a trace. He barely finished speaking when a strange fog rose around us. Visibility dropped to almost nothing, and we heard eerie sounds, whispers, footsteps, as if something invisible was walking around us. Don't fall for it, it's hallucinations. They're playing with your mind. But I already saw them, figures emerging from the mist, faces distorted in horror. They weren't just ghosts. They moved as if trying to reach me. "Run!" Victor yelled, grabbing my arm. The fog cleared, and we found ourselves in a clearing. At its center stood a monolithic stone, emitting a soft glow. That's an artifact. It can open a portal. But as we stepped closer, the ground trembled. From the shadows emerged a massive figure. It was a controller, a creature capable of invading the mind. Voices filled my head. Pure chaos. The controller strode toward us, and my strength drained away. Victor fired his shotgun, and for a few seconds, the pressure in my head vanished. "Hold it off!" he shouted, activating the artifact. I kept shooting until my bullets ran out. The creature collapsed, but Victor was already dead, lying next to the monolith. With the last of my strength, I activated the artifact. Light engulfed me again. I was back in that apartment. Everything looked exactly as before, but scars remained on my hands, and from my pocket fell a strange, glowing stone. The zone had let me go, but I knew it wouldn't be for long.